Today we are going to learn about line plots. A line plot is a graph that shows data. The X on a line plot represents a piece of data. So there's three important parts to a line plot that we need to know. In order to make a line plot, we need to have data. And our data is represented here in this box, which shows the length of ropes. So there's a whole bunch of different ropes, and these are how long each of the pieces are. A line plot also needs to have a title. As you can see, length of ropes is the title for this line plot, and it also needs to include inches, which is how we measured the ropes. Let's see how we do a line plot by looking at the next slide. So again, a line plot is a graph that shows data. The X on the line plot represents a piece of data. So again, we have our length of ropes, and this is our data. And what we do is we look at each one and we go down to our number line and we put an X above the number. So our first length of rope is 4 inches. I come down to here, I find 4 inches, and I'm going to put an X above the 4. This X represents one piece of rope that is 4 inches. I like to come over here and maybe make a little check or a little mark so that I know that I've already done that one and I don't do it again. The next one is 5 inches. Come over above the 5, I put an X, and again I go back and make sure I check that one off so I don't do it again. Now I have 3 inches. Come over here, I put an X for that piece of rope. Come back over here, I'm going to put another check mark. Oh, here's another piece of rope. This one is also 5 inches. So what I do is I go over to the 5, and the next X needs to go above this 5. So it's going to look like that. And I'm going to put another check. Wow, the next piece of rope is only 1 inch. I go over to my number line, I go and I find 1 inch, and again I put an X on top of the 1. Go back, check it off. I have one more piece of rope. This rope is 6 inches. So I go to my 6, I put an X, and I come back here. Okay, now I know that I've done all my data. I have it displayed on a line graph or a line plot. So it's a graph of my information. Now when I look at this line plot, I can very easily answer questions. So for example, if I asked you which piece of rope do we have the most of, you would say, oh, the one that's 5 inches long, we have 2 pieces of. And then I could say, well, which piece of rope has the longest inches? And you would look on here and you'd say, oh, and you would be able to answer with 6. All right, let's keep practicing and try doing another one with more information. All right, so on the top here, again, this is the important information that we need. We need to have data, we need to have a title, and we need to make sure to show what units of measure we are using. All right, if we were at school, we would read these directions, which says use an inch ruler, measure and record the lengths of 5 books in inches. We would actually have you have books taken out of your desk or maybe from our book shelves, and you would have 5 books and you would have to measure them. Now, since we're not at school and we don't have books in front of us and we don't have rulers, we just decided to put the inches down here in the box for you. So this is your data that we're going to use for our line graph. Now, down on the bottom, it says write a title for the line plot. I already did that for us, but I got that information from up here where it said record the lengths of 5 books in inches. So we know we're talking about books and we know we're talking about inches. Then write the numbers and draw the X's. Now it's important that you fill in these numbers. I wouldn't start at 1 or 2 because no book is 1 or 2 inches in our data. So the numbers that we have here, our lowest number is a 4, our highest number is an 8. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to put a 4 as my first number because that's the lowest number that we have for our data. We're going to do 4, we're going to do 5, we're going to do 6, we're going to do 7, and then we're going to do 8. Right, now I'm going to look at my information, my data again. So the first book we measured was 4 inches. I need to come down to the 4, and above the line, I need to put an X. That shows that we have one book that's 4 inches long. Go back here, make our check because we did that one. My second book is 6 inches long. I come down, I find the 6, I put an X above the 6. Done with that one. My third book is 8 inches. I come down here, I find the 8. Again, I put my X above the 8. The X tells me that there's a book that is 8 inches long. Put a check. Fourth book is 6 inches. I come down to my number line. Oh, I see I already have an X there, so I need to put my next X on top of that one. Okay, now I go back and I do my check, excuse me, and I do my fifth book, which is 7 inches. I come down above the 7 and I put an X. And go back up, check. Okay, I have 5 books. I have 5 X's, so I know I made my line plot correctly. And now when I look at that, I very easily see that 2 of our books measure 6 inches. 5 inches, there's no books that measure that. And so as you can see, looking at a line plot, very easily you can take the information or the data, display it, and it's easier to read. All right, here's another one. This time we're doing lengths of pencils in inches. So the first thing we have to do, remember, is we need the data, which we have here. We need a title, and we need to do our units of measure, which we have right here. So I already filled in the title, which is lengths of pencils in inches, and I got the inches from right here. Okay, so again, we already measured the pencils. If you're at home and you have a ruler, you definitely could get some pencils and you could put your own information in and you can make your own line plot. This is what we're going to use for class today. So I look at my numbers. I look for my lowest number, which is a 6, and my highest number, which is a 9. So when I do my line plot, I have to put 6 over here. Then I'm going to put 7. I'm going to put 8. I'm going to put 9. And I have an extra line, so I'm going to put 10. All right, I'm going back up to my data. I have a pencil that's 7 inches. I'm coming over here. I'm putting an X. I'm checking that one off so I don't get confused and use it again. My next one is 9 inches. I come over to my 9. I'm going to put an X above the 9. Go back and check this one off. Oh, my third pencil is also 9 inches long. I'm coming back over to 9. I need to put another X on top of that one. Go back, check that off so I don't use it again. My fourth pencil is 8 inches long. I come down to my number line. I'm looking for the 8, and I'm going to put an X above it. Go back, check that one off. And my last pencil is my shortest pencil. It's only 6 inches long. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put an X on top of the 6 and go back and check it. So when I look at my line plot, I can see the lengths of pencils in inches. And so if I asked you which pencil do we have, or which 2 pencils have the same inches, you would say 9, because we have 2 pencils which are 9 inches long. If I said to you, what is the shortest pencil? You could look at your information here, which is so much easier to look at. You look at the 6 and you say, one pencil is 6 inches long. That's the shortest pencil that I have. So a line plot, again, is just a graph showing you data in a different way, and it's easier for us to read. Now the homework is to try one on your own. So we have 4 crayons. Here is your data. Here is your number line. On these lines we need the numbers, and on this line we need to have the title for the line plot. So I would like you to make your own line plot on a piece of paper, and then you can take a picture of that and you can send it to your teacher. Bye, boys and girls.